Oh boy, yeah, there is some of that for sure. Cool. Depending on who you're playing against, and that's going to be part of it. Right? Now, in the Southern game, and I thought Southern played well. They're physical, and they have their guys up front move really well at the power forward and center position, so they can switch things when they either. And they went back and forth throughout the game. Okay? So either they've called it to switch all five, or they're going to get out and show on a ball screen and stay with. But they have the ability to do that, and that can be challenging. Okay? When they move well enough up front. In addition to that, they're very physical all the way through their roster. So now, having said that, boy, we had two things happen in the first half. We had the ball at the rim. I've talked a lot about the decisions we're making when we get to the basket, when we get to the rim, in particular with Benny and Leon and Trey, and those have gotten better. We had four or five that had nothing to do with the decisions we made. We just missed a layup, right? And I've said it before, and I told a couple people when we got back from Southern, I was talking on the phone with right. I haven't ever coached a guy, and I'm certain that you guys haven't ever watched somebody miss a layup on purpose, right? And it doesn't only happen to us, right? Sometimes a guy misses a layup, right? But we had four or five of those, and that the way that game ended up playing out, that really impacted our because then maybe you're down 2 at half instead of 8 or 10. I don't know if it was 8 or it was 10, but it was just a really hard first half offensively, and some of it, Gio made a great play, guy to the front of the rim. There's nobody between him and the basket. He misses, it doesn't go in. Leon had one, didn't go in. Will had one right at the basket. By the time he caught it, turned, and a little shot fake, there was nobody standing next to him, and it just didn't go in. And I think there was one more. I'm almost sure there was four of them. So that was part of it. Now, the second half, we got it to 43-38, and we had it at 7 a couple of different times, and that's the turnovers you're talking about. Boy, we threw some bad passes. We just there was work. They were switching 5 ways, and we were working to take advantage of that, and we did not. And that was our fault. My fault as our head coach. Right? Fundamentally, we haven't been strong enough, solid enough in the way that we attack the switch, right? And so that puts our players in a tough spot. We're like, hey, just get the ball to Will on that switch, right? Well, the way Southern's defending, it's not quite that easy, right? If you haven't practiced it enough and they aren't confident in exactly what the pass that they're making. So they did what we told them. Right? We just put them we put them in a bad spot. Right? So that was you think about that was I think 3 of the turnovers, and then Will had the ball in the lane right by the basket, and they stripped it from him once. He was going to lay it in. And the other one, they tipped it away when he was backing him down. So we had the ball in there a couple more times when it was 7. So, I needed to make a couple layups in the first half, and then I didn't like what I was seeing in terms of being able to really attack the switch. And that's not their fault. That's my fault. And our pace, I will say, our pace yesterday was better, but it's not. I'm watching it thinking, man, will you guys just go faster? And I know it's different from where we were at, so there is that piece of it, okay, where we had been much more deliberate, right, and that really fit the way we were playing and the teams we were playing against. And when RJ and Max were both out, they're both out for a good 3 weeks, maybe a little longer. At that point, you're just pretty light in terms of your depth. So, being deliberate was really good to us, and that was part of the 12-3 and 4-0, like playing that way. Okay? Now you get both those guards back. We're going to get Tristan back this week, and Trey's getting a little healthier right now. You've got everybody, and we were struggling so much offensively, wanting to get going, and that helped against Murray, and it helped against Evansville. But we've got to just really coach them up on it. Like, we can get more out of it. Okay? Yeah. Anybody else?
Tristan, like I said, you alluded to, you went through warm-ups this week, and then, you kind of circled Friday, Bradley. What can we expect to see out of Tristan? Will he be completely the guy we saw at the start of the year? Or?
Yeah, hard to know that part until we get out there. You miss it's a lot of practices, right? And you miss just the rhythm and the flow of the games. An entire month of games and practices is a lot. Right? So I don't know when we're going to see the same guy from a production standpoint. But we'll see the same guy in terms of the rest of it. Right? And, the physicality and the effort and the enthusiasm he brings and the impact that he has on his teammates. He practiced for half hour, 40 minutes. Would have been Friday, the day before the Evansville game, and it's just a really very different feel. And you, I think, as you hear me talking about it, you can take yourself back to when he was playing and what that felt like, even for us watching him. Right, it's got a different feel to it, and that's really important for our team. So all of that'll be there, Nelly, and just in terms of how smooth it is for him and what he's like around the basket and, some of the plays he's making off the dribble and like some of that stuff. I don't know, hopefully he's able to pick up where he left off, but that part of it may take just a little bit. But man, we can't wait to get him back. And then we'll see how practice goes Wednesday and Thursday. We're not doing much today other than weight room and individual workouts. And tomorrow will be, fairly similar. And then practices on Wednesday and Thursday. So I'd be able to give you maybe a little more after Wednesday and Thursday's practices, because my hope is he can go the entire practice on Thursday and the entire practice on Friday. That'll be the first time he's had a full practice. So
how long will Trey rest before an individual workout or practice?
I think we're in a pretty good spot now. And that obviously had some impact, on the game at Southern. We don't have him for 18 minutes, and the guys get it to 43-38, and then, like I said, it's at 7 a couple times, and he isn't out there from 18 and a half all the way down. So that had some impact there. And I know he felt good on Saturday. I thought he was moving pretty good Saturday. Sunday was a complete day off, and then he would have been in with Bish. But I think by Wednesday he should be good to practice most of the my hope is he's able to get at least Wednesday or Thursday an entire, a full practice in before Friday.
I know you guys don't look too far ahead of, you don't look ahead of Friday, but you look at this stretch you have coming up. You have third, second, and first. How big of a stretch is it for you guys right now in terms of the long run?
I think it's great. I love February. I mean, it's in our schedule, the way February starts for us is, as you mentioned, it's Bradley here, who's played really well. They looked great on Saturday night, at Drake. Just their physicality and the pace they were playing at, and they're obviously making shots. And their new guard was, I think, 9 for 9 from 3. But they look great. And then we just saw Murray. Right, it's been a little bit since we saw Belmont, but we just saw Murray in here, and we know how good they are. And Belmont really put it on them Saturday night. If anybody watched that, I mean, Belmont was terrific. So, as everybody knows, right, we're gonna work on Bradley. When Bradley's done, we'll work on Murray. When Murray's done, we're gonna work on Belmont. But I think it's great, Nelly, that we're in February and we got those 3 games coming up. That's 3 really good opponents, and it's exciting, man. Yeah, yep.
Talking about watching the film and going, man, I wish we were playing even faster.
Yeah.
Does that come from you guys got this defense that's tops near the top of the country, and thinking, well, that's something we got to turn into offense. That's something you hear a lot. We got to turn defense into offense. You guys have a really good defense. Is that where some of that comes from? Like we got to capitalize on that.
Yeah. Well, as you talk through that, Cole, I would say yes. When I was watching it, it was more from just watching the pace. Like we can run faster. Okay? The simplest part of it is just running faster. Okay? The next part that's a little bit harder is the decision with the basketball. Okay? There was times I felt like the guy with the ball was just kind of going, and just would kind of get there and look around a little bit. And we've when we made the decision before the Murray game to improve increase the pace, we just kept it real simple. Throw the ball up the sideline, and if you do, we're going to get to a quick ball screen on that side. If not, we're going to go get a quick pin away, and they're going to hit him if he's open and play off that. And I kept it real simple. Like these are the 2 things we're going to do. And in the first half, we had 41 in the first half. We had 38, I think, with 4.5 minutes left. Maybe we only scored 3 points the last 4 minutes, so we'd had a really good half. Right? But just watching us, like we got whether it's a screener. Not getting contact and getting a screen, or the ball handler like looking to do other things other than the 2 that I mentioned. Like there's a reason we want to do those 2 is because it can happen fast, right? And everybody's on the same page, right? So, when I went through it and watched it, it's more of that. Right? Now, if our defense continues to play at a level it's playing at, then having more possessions in the game. Our defensive rebounding percentage is just under 74% right now. That's around 20th in the country. So, if it's going to be hard for teams to get enough quality looks at the basket, and if we're going to rebound them when they miss, right, then it's good for us to have more possessions, right? And what we found in the Murray game and in the Evansville game is really good to us to get to them before they're back there and set. Our skill level's high enough, right? So, we'll, obviously some rest yesterday and a little bit different today and tomorrow in terms of how much we're requiring from them and banging into each other and running them down the floor. So we should be able to get some good work in on Wednesday and Thursday. And part of that's going to be watching what we're talking about right now, right? And being able to do it with even some more pace in both. Getting there quicker, like with how fast you're running, and then also the decisions that you're making. Some of them were just took too long to get to the first thing. Right?
What do you look for out of Bradley, both in terms of what you've seen of recent games since you've had time to start prepping on them, and also knowing that they have a game with Valpo on Tuesday that you can watch and kind of get a
Yeah,
scout?
I was able to watch a little bit of the game against Drake. They can, with their roster, they can play a little bit bigger, and then they were at times with Drake. They can put 3 guards out there, so their lineups are a little bit smaller. Right? When it's 3 guards, they're able to play pretty fast. Highly skilled guys in that backcourt. When they go a little bit bigger, even when they don't go bigger, they're really fit. They've always been a very physical team. Right? And then in that one at their place, we played without Tristan and we played without Will. So hard to. There's stuff from the first game that we'll obviously watch, and we can take some things from the first game, but a different game for us playing without both those guys. And we've talked about it. My hope is Tristan is back. Will is healthy right now, so we should have both of them, which that makes us a different team in terms of our physicality, and our ability to hopefully be better defensively and be better in terms of rebounding than we were when we were at Bradley. But it's going to be. They're going to play fast in transition. They're going to be very physical, and then they're going to execute their stuff. Like they've been doing that for a long time now with Brian.